welcome back.
Hello.
To the Contemporary Arts and Culture Podcast. Ugh, as if.
Hi.
It's my sister. And
Hi.
Lisa Fevral. So, if you see my face twitch,
She's low on
welcome to my
potassium.
life. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I straight up, like, my eye has been twitching for 2 weeks. Every day. All day. It's just a different, like,
Tempos.
yes.
Sometimes it's like, staying alive. And then sometimes it's like, in the arms of... And then sometimes it's like, we're in heaven. That song is actually really lit. Anyways, sorry.
Honestly, yeah. And dude, it's just not even funny anymore. What on the fuck of the earth?
I keep telling her...
It's pissing me off.
Yeah, I keep telling her to eat banana as if it's going to cure everything.
You know, that's the thing. Like, I just don't understand why it's so bad, because, like, I've checked my potassium levels and other vitamins and stuff, and they're all fine.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, to cure depression, drink water. Yeah, it's like the same vibe. I just keep saying, yo, eat a banana.
Yeah. Every time I say it, it's like, how about the banana, though?
How about some banana?
Today we've got a bit of a confusing combination of things, because this is how it works, okay? I want it to be entertaining. I want to also bring in people who are kind of in pop culture circles but want to learn about art. The topic is weird as fuck. It's gonna start with Sabrina Carpenter and it's gonna end with my favorite artist, because I have a list of people I enjoy. I don't have like a favorite, just like one artist or something like that, but if there's one that I really, really love, it'd be probably him. And it's really interesting.
And that's the only time you'll ever hear that phrase. If there's anyone I really love, it'll be him. Yeah.
That's literally not normal for me to say.
Yeah, that even sounded weird coming out of your mouth at listening to it live.
Yeah, straight up weird as shit.
Yeah, that sounded weird.
But anyways.
Yeah, this is a piece I feel like we both really love, and I think I remember having a lecture about this piece, like a 300 plus person lecture in a lecture hall at our school. Will not say the name because no free promo. And literally the presentation was so good. It was like so deep. Like people started clapping, standing ovation for the prof because it was like incredible. But anyways, we're going to talk about that art piece.
The episode is probably going to be named something like, "Can you please make better art about love? Because I can't do it no more." Like, it is insufferable. This is kind of, okay, so this is a combination of first the news about Sabrina Carpenter's boy who's like has a kid and decided to leave his wife with a newborn, and then just like gallivant around with Sabrina Carpenter
just to cheat on
her with a girl who looks exactly like her again.
Yeah.
Like, and by again I mean that Sabrina was looking like his ex-wife. He's got a type to the point where it's like not even funny anymore. It's like weird. It's like, girl, what's the point? It's like kind of like this girl I know who I'm not friends with at all, but I am forced to be in close proximity, cheating on her fiance with a guy who looks literally exactly like him. It's like, well,
yeah, it's like, no, you're not even
I'm sorry?
You're not even gonna explore a different flavor.
Yeah, you're not even gonna sample something else.
Yeah,
you're literally gonna replace
vanilla with vanilla.
At this point, what are you doing?
You're replacing vanilla with vanilla bean. Like, dude, at least try, I don't know, like something fun like pistachio or
like something
strawberry,
bitch,
maybe
something.
birthday cake perhaps, if you want to venture out just a little bit from vanilla.
I don't know. It's just like not even, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so a lot of people started making videos about her song, Please, 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 which is basically for this guy, was written for him, being like, please don't prove me right. Don't embarrass me, motherfucker. Yeah. Literally. Which, girl, you knew he was going to. So what? Like, you even said in the song, like, don't prove me right. Can somebody explain to me why they continuously do this shit to themselves?
Yeah. I wish she just said it like a threat without him in the video. I wish she was just like, yo, watch the song I made about you. And it's like her with a gun being like, please, please, please don't prove I'm right. Kind of like when Cardi B made that song, I think it's called Be Careful.
And she still went back to him?
Yeah, I hated
I don't
that.
want to hear it. I'm tired of you.
But I like how she was singing to the coffin because she killed him.
And she didn't.
Yeah, she didn't.
I'm tired of you bitches
Unfortunately.
just saying shit.
Yeah.
Follow through. I don't know. Stand on business.
I wish she stood on business, but
Please, I'm begging.
I wish Sabrina Carpenter had done that instead of have him in the video.
No
But
body, no
anyways.
crime.
No body, no crime. That's for real. Anyways,
Anyway, that's that. I got nothing else to say about that, but it was clickbait.
yeah, gotcha,
Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. Pop culture obsessed bitch. Now let's talk about something more interesting. Anyway, one other thing that I want to mention though, since we did mention killing and guns, the guy who killed the UHC or United
healthcare guy. Yeah,
legend. I don't give a fuck. Sorry to say. A lot of people who are like in the comments, or if you're gonna write something stupid like we can't celebrate death, get the fuck out. Seriously, I'm not gonna explain to you what justice is. Just to say the least, actually, because this guy killed.
can't celebrate death while we're like literally thriving because of it right now. All right.
Dude, the fact of the matter is, this guy killed thousands a year for his profit.
I'm just gonna be real. I heard about this news, did not look into it. I'm not too sure like who this guy is. The guy who got killed. Like, what's his vibe?
He basically is the guy who's responsible for implementing AI in deciding whether something is going to be covered for people or not this year, and they
Like healthcare wise.
And they're basically their denial rate went up to 90%.
Oh fuck! And is this in the States or? Where? Yeah. Okay.
He got gunned down in New York in the middle of the street.
Oh.
The guy just like shot him, and then the bullets had defer something else in the on the bullets, which is like a reference to a book that was talking about insurance policies that kill people and how they use the justice system to get away with it.
Wow. On the bullets?
On the bullets.
That's kind of artistic, dude.
Mm-hmm. And then
he kind of ate with that.
And then a photo came out. A photo came out from like a surveillance camera somewhere in the city, which is like, we don't even know. It's actually an empty picture. There's no one there. No one can even see that guy. He's hot. He's fucking hot.
Damn. Well, hey mama. Hey baby. Where you at? You looking for a safe haven? I got one for you.
Yeah, like seriously,
we're asking for this mass vigilante to come onto the pod.
No, I hope to God he gets away with it. No one sees shit. Everyone commenting under every single TikTok video where there's like a picture of him being like, that's not even the right guy. It's not even like the guy in the video was wearing a different jacket. Actually, I think that lady is really nice. I don't know why you guys posted that picture of a lady telling us that it's a guy. I don't know.
That can't be him. That's my husband.
That's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, what the fuck? Oh my god, yeah. That does look like Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's fucking hot.
Holy shit. Jake, do you have
the funniest thing is that the cops in New York City are so in love with him. They like literally they were giving interviews being like, and when he's got jammed, he was so swift with it. He's definitely very trained, very capable. And like the way that they were talking about him was like as if they have a crush on him, and they're like,
I would just love to be in his strong, capable hands.
To be handled by a man like that. It's literally crazy. And yeah, that's the news. If you're one of those people who are like, I'm not saying that this is right,
you can't fight violence with violence, dude.
Go fuck yourself. You know who you are. You're literally the type of person like one of those masters, like one of those fucking slave owners who are saying shit like, well, they were being violent, that's why they're terrorists. You enslaved them. Shut the fuck up. You deserved a lot worse, actually. You should have been wiped off the face of the earth, actually.
They're just like,
you shouldn't
yo,
have even gotten a chance to run away, bitch.
They're like, yeah, you should just lie down and take it. They're the type
They
of
were
people.
being so nice to you. They actually let, like, those people, like, for example, who are coming from Jamaica being like, my God, they, like, run us out. They were being so nice. They gave you a chance to run. I wouldn't give you a chance to run. Sorry to say.
Yeah.
You don't like that? Girl, I don't know what to tell you. Because I think that it's so violent to be against violence when it comes only to people who are oppressed. You're a scumbag.
Period. It's like, dude, that is way more humane than what was done to them. Like, letting
people are literally murdered every single day by these executives. Every single day. Directly and indirectly.
Yeah.
You think that just because he didn't do it quickly with a gun, it doesn't count? I think it actually counts even more because people around them have to watch them be, like, their loved ones be drained of life, being put into debt that is unsurmountable and cannot be actually paid for with regular people wages just for their greed. And you want to talk to me about how he's, like, apparently some kind of fucking, oh, he's a father. I don't give a fuck. Get his kids in here too. I don't care. I mean, I'm serious. Like, you can't be doing this shit to people and then expect no violence back.
Or like people just to take it.
What did you think? How did you think people won their rights? How do you think the slavery was ended? Do you think it was just because white people decided to be nice now? You thought that was the case?
Yep, definitely not.
They didn't have to, you thought they didn't have to fight? The oppressors are not gonna give you the shit that they are oppressing you for. You're gonna have to take it back violently. Because that's the only language they understand.
I remember, like, it's like people who think that are like people who'd be like, yeah, I would never teach, if my kid was getting bullied, I would never teach them to fight violence with violence.
Yeah.
Dude, if that were my kid, I'm telling them to fucking bully back.
Yeah.
The fuck?
If someone tries to beat you up, beat them back up. Beat them back, and I will come to school and I will have you back.
Yeah.
What do you think this is? You think I'm gonna come in and be like, oh no, Timmy, why did you do that? Actually, why Timmy, bitch? Like, I would never have a kid named Timmy. But I would just, like, not, I would never be like, oh my God, you should have just given the other cheek.
I know. I hate that fucking concept.
That's ridiculous, and it is a language that is created by slave owners for slave owners.
I know.
If you're not, like, if you don't want to be associated with slave owners, and if you don't support slave ownership or enslaving people, then you shouldn't be using that language, and you shouldn't be, like, all for peace, even when it comes to people fighting back. Okay, that's it.
Literally,
that's the rant. Anyway, so on the topic of love, how we're going to arrive to this artwork that I'm going to talk about today is through talking about love artworks in the wild. First of all, the ones that we are most familiar with is music and TV shows and movies, and this is the type of thing that most people are exposed to when it comes to love. And a lot of stuff about love, whether it is in more of a high art or lowbrow art, whatever the hell, whichever medium it is in, oftentimes it actually makes me feel depressed rather than makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Not because like, oh my God, I want love or whatever the hell. It's not like about thinking about wanting or not wanting it as much as it's like about the quality of that love in that art that makes me depressed, because I'm like, damn, this is the type of love that people are aspiring to.
It's like so shallow.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so shallow, so offensive. Actually, I think it's offensive, to be honest. Like, basically, for example, I love the aesthetic of the early Vampire Diaries because it's very nostalgic to me. Like, I kind of feel like a 12-year-old again, you know, whenever I see it. But whenever I think about it, or whatever when I rewatched a couple of episodes a while ago, like a couple of years ago or something, I was shocked. Not really shocked. I just understood why, when I was younger, when I was rewatching it in its entirety, or like the first few seasons or whatever, why I was feeling so depressed after watching multiple episodes in a row, not in a row like the same day, for example, but like if I'm watching something, I'm watching that show. You know how like you kind of
just like on your
like when you're in
downtime.
the era of like rewatching something.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, why was I always feeling so depressed afterwards? And a lot of people, when I talked about it to them, would suggest that it's because it's like a fantasy world with like vampires and other shit like that, and that it made me feel like I'm in this reality that's not special or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, it never resonated with me. I understand that when it comes to like wanting to go to fucking Hogwarts or something like that as a kid, you know, and then being upset that you didn't go, and then kind of like that staying with you as like a, you know, a disappointment from your childhood.
Yeah.
But this is a different thing, and I was always kind of confused. I was like, maybe it's the lighting in the show, which is kind of dark, maybe it's the music, maybe whatever. And like now I understand why, because after years of not seeing that show, I was watching a couple of episodes and I was just shocked by how shallow the relationships are, how kiddie and silly their problems are, even though they're like made to be so important, because it's like literally life and death.
Yeah, it's like they're supernatural.
They're supernatural.
And this is the best you guys can
It's
come
life
up with.
and death, and this is where we are. You know, like it's like, oh, Klaus tries to kill Elena because he wants to create a new type, like a hybrid type of supernaturals, and it's like, and what for? And it's like, well, power. And it's like, well, now I'm supposed to watch this guy. Like, I don't see why he would need it.
Yeah, like there's no like driving factor.
He's 1,000 years old. And the only time when I was like kind of into the storyline that they were writing was one moment when he was talking to Caroline about like whether he was ever thought about killing himself. And he's like, oh yeah, I was kind of really tired of living, and then and like I can't really kill myself because I'm like literally an original vampire, so it's really hard to kill me.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I was looking at a hummingbird and how it needs to move to stay alive and whatever, and hearing its heartbeat made me feel more connected to being alive or whatever the hell, like something along those lines. So basically a conversation about this. I was like, okay, so you're actually tapping into something. And it was literally a 1 minute conversation in like season 4 or something like that, and that's it. Like,
damn,
it's just really weird.
I was
like
listening intently because I'm like, yeah, that sounds very like
it's interesting to hear how would you live if you couldn't kill yourself and you had to live forever.
Yeah, it's just like,
what would you do?
Like there's just like so much to talk about in depth in that, and also you can kind of pick out things that you might question in your own life, you know, even though I mean, you can't relate to him as a fucking vampire, but you're like,
but you can relate to him being depressed.
Yeah, depressed about living.
Yeah, so I was like, oh damn, like we're kind of going somewhere, right? And then I realized that like even like all of their epic loves, it's all words. Their friendships are vacuous because they will literally always get carried away by their relationships, always. And I mean I understand this is an American show, I get it, it's a different culture, whatever, but I still like, how do you live like that? How do you not want to just like fucking end it all if you're surrounded by people who are technically they're participating in all aspects of life, but they're like not alive at all? It's like they're fucking dead inside, and you have to just ignore it.
Yeah,
just pretend like you're also participating or something. Like, how do you live in a world as vacuous as this? And I kind of had the same thought, which kind of triggered, you know, the reason why I wanted even to talk about this topic in this episode, because honestly I'm kind of tired of talking about love and even mentioning men. I think that for a few of the next episodes I can't do no more. We're gonna have to like, I know there's a lot of questions that people asked that are pertaining to like relationships and men and whatever, but I'm gonna be so honest with you, I think so little of them in my day-to-day life that I can't do it for more than an episode or two here and there, because I just get so exhausted talking about it, and I really don't understand their existence, so it's really hard for me to even like continuously talk about it. But
which is nice to talk about episode about love and not have it centered around a
Yes.
heterosexual relationship, because
Yes.
guess what, love applies to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Which is also something
Genuinely.
that is honestly annoying to deal with.
That's what's depressing to me, I think, about those shows and stuff like that, is because they consistently talk about, this is my best friend, or like, this is my epic. They love to use the word epic, which is so cringe, but like, my epic love, or whatever the hell. First of all, your love is all like, I don't even know
Kind
what
of
it's centered
vapid.
on, because it's basically just attraction.
Yeah,
like
it's just
intense lust.
Like, yeah.
Which is, it's all fun and good. I'm not telling you that it's not fun, like, it
Yeah.
is, bitch. Like, what am I supposed to tell you? But it's also kind of a thing that will really make you feel depressed if it's not actually just the thing that is, like, lust is kind of a thing that just happens sometime, but it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not nourishing.
It's not nourishing or sustainable.
No.
It also makes me question too, like, if I'm watching something, whether or not it's fiction or nonfiction, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, so they obviously are attracted physically to each other, but if that were taken away, like, what is a relationship standing on? I'm already automatically bored.
Yeah, like
Like,
what why are you even, what do you mean you love him so much? What do you mean you love him so much and you love him more than some other guy that you're also attracted to? Why? You're
Yeah,
attracted
and
to
you're-
him more?
You actually just like can't see the difference.
Yeah.
Wait, why are y'all fighting so hard
Yeah, like, it doesn't make any
Like,
sense.
for each other? I actually can't remember a show where I felt like, or like any content where I felt like, holy shit, like I really feel they fucking love each other, and it's like so intense. And you know why I think that? Okay, because FK Twigs, in like one of her most recent videos about the lawsuit she's going through with Shia LaBeouf, there's a part that like really hit me where she was just like, honestly, it was just boring. When she said that, she's like, it was boring because you realize that you're not special. And I think like that's like something about love that always fall into. If it's romantic love, you always think that it's special. Like, every single one is special, especially if it's like a hetero relationship. It can be any, but I'm just saying, like, oh, it's me and him against the world. This is nothing like my old relationship. And not in a pessimistic view, but I have to say they're all the same. A lot of them are the same. For me, if it's like they're obviously, if they're like a fucking abuser, like, that's different. But I mean, like, the fragility of being in a relationship is quite frankly all the same, no matter who you're with. So it's like kind of getting rid of that like mystique that movies and shit gives you, like, oh my god, you're gonna find somebody and they're the one. It's like, no, dude, it's a lot of work. It's not gonna be like what they say in the movies where it's just you find that person, you lock eyes, and you're like, oh my god, nothing can go wrong kind of vibe. You actually, like, with any relationship, it will fail regardless of how much you're like in lust with them if you don't put any fucking effort into it.
I feel like it's not just effort, because I think that effort is one thing, genuine compatibility and compatibility as a full person.
What I'm trying to say with it is that I see a lot of their happiness depends so much on each other. They're not fully developed. It's like the codependency thing. I automatically feel like red flag if I see one or the other person start to develop their personality to kind of like be like the person that they're with. Their belief system all of a sudden changes. Like, I was watching this video literally a couple hours ago of Gwen Stefani promoting a Christian app because she married that country dude.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, no way this is the same girl that's saying this shit is bananas. And now she's like, follow Hallow and believe in the word of Christ. Okay, this relationship is red flags for me. Like, why are you turning into him? For what? It's like you're not even your own person. Why get into a relationship if you're so, I don't know, it's just like
The thing is,
neither
you can be in a relationship even if you're not, don't feel like a full person or whatever the fuck. It's just really weird because I think that a lot of, it's usually women who are like molding themselves to fit some kind of like man or whatever, but they don't really have, a lot of them are just not good people.
Yeah, just like not a deep understanding of what it means to love in general.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
And also about FK Twigs, because I have read the, I guess, I don't know if it was a video that was just like written down or something, but I read that interview, and she was talking about how it's not that the relationships are the same. It's that to him, to the abuser, he doesn't care who he abuses.
Yeah,
it's not
it's all
like you had this like abusive relationship that was out of your unique brokenness, you know, like you and him are having this issues and that's why you ended up in this situation. It's not about you. He would have abused regardless whether it was you or any other person.
Yeah, it's
like he just doesn't give a fuck who he's abusing.
Yeah, it's like there's no,
it's not unique experience.
Yeah.
The reason why I started thinking about it so much was because I saw someone like on our Discord sent this link to Rosé's new album. It's a whole album about relationships, basically, like the entire thing, right? About one relationship, I assume. I listened to it, and I listened to the interview that she had with Zane Lowe, and I was just sitting there like the entire time. I was like, this is too shallow for a 27-year-old woman. Even if you had this relationship when you were 22, it would still be really shallow now. You wrote this album in the last year. It's really crazy that it's like you're at this point in your life. At the same time, I'm like, okay, so maybe she's like operating at that level because it's more relatable, so she's not going to be actually writing something that is super self-aware, just because this is supposed to be more universal or whatever. This is like a marketing kind of issue or whatever, which is fine, whatever. But I think that the way that they were talking about it was kind of something that I noticed, or something that I did see in a lot of people when I was a kid, observing adults who were already in their 30s. I remember that a lot of them were talking about relationships as if, like, for example, their divorce was one of those things that they would use as evidence when they say things like, oh, I've seen life. I've gone through so much.
Yeah, it's like people who are like, yeah, I've fucked a ton of people, so I have a lot of experience about relationships.
I was just so surprised to, not surprised, but I just really have a hard time comprehending now that I am closer to that age. I'm not even that age yet. Just sitting here being like, how was the weight of reality and the weight of the world and the issues that are consistent and so prevalent and just like corrode your life from within, how was it not on their mind? And it's like, yeah, it's privilege, I would assume.
Yeah.
But it's also so strange because they know about all this shit that's going on in the world. Maybe they don't internalize it, but they know about it. They know that things like that happen. And yet they, with full seriousness, look you in the eye and tell you, yeah, I've been through so much. It's just like, I'm so tired of being God's toughest soldier.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm not in 2025 strongest soldier list.
Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck happened to you, Kristen, that you're saying this?
Yeah. It honestly, it's...
And it's like, I've been in so many talking stages.
Damn, that must be hard. I'm in a talking stage every day, unfortunately, being alive in this world. I don't want to talk to my bank teller, but I gotta do it. It just reminds me of your...
I know. Like,
she's like, I'm so experienced because I just fuck a ton.
Yeah, she literally, like, I know a girl who, like, literally said that to me.
You know what you should do, though, instead
of...
Like,
do you understand that I'm not gonna take you seriously?
You know what you should do, though, instead of fucking around? Just shut the fuck up.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that? Actually, you know what? Since I remember it right now, someone in the comments was like, one thing Lisa's gonna do is not know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to, because every single episode I say it like 300 times, like, I don't know what to tell you.
That's so true. But like, honestly, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't understand this, I truly don't know. But I remember in high school, speaking of love, because I didn't date in high school because I don't know, one, figuring out my sexuality, two, I didn't want to, like, I just didn't feel like it.
I don't date because I don't want to.
There was
if I meet someone I'm like, I actually want to go on a date with, I will. But I just don't.
Yeah, I don't. And I never felt like the pressure to do that until one of my friends, who isn't my friend anymore, I remember like they were talking, like two of my best friends were talking about relationships and stuff. I said something, honestly, I got tapped young by sister in the back for saying it, but I said something that was just thoughtful about being in a relationship. She's like, you wouldn't understand. You don't know what love is because you never had sex. Verbatim, she said that to me. And then, you know what? I remember like being so shook by her saying that I was like, well, she's like, so, you know what I said to her? I was like, so I don't know what love is, but I love you guys. Like, I love my friends. I love my family. And then she just like kind of said nothing. And then after that, I never involved her in any of my like relationship stuff, because in any form or capacity, because I'm just like, you're actually low-key dumb. Like,
yeah, and dead inside.
Yeah, and actually, like, I remember...
There's not even an eighth of a soul in you. And I always say an eighth. I don't know why. It's not a saying in any language that I speak. But
I, like, honestly remember tearing up and being like, oh, okay, so I guess, like, my love for you guys, like, for you as my friend
I was literally said the same thing.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I remember, like, actually being sad that she said that to me.
Yeah. I had say that to me.
Yeah, and I was like, I think I was like 15 or 16, and I was like so shook by that.
I was really offended by that too. I also cried about it. And what, like, all the love in my life is not real.
Yeah.
And then I also was seeing them dating and I was like, and this is love?
Yeah,
So
and-
this is the only thing I can look forward to? This bullshit?
Yeah, and it's crazy too because for me, it was the greatest love I experienced in my life was my two best friends, and it kind of hit me in the face like what they
They don't love you the same way that you love them.
Exactly. What she was like actually conceiving as what love is. Dude, she actually doesn't give a fuck the same way that I do. You know, and I was like, that really hit me in the face for the first time because like I knew it always existed because truthfully I was never interested in the topic. Just growing up I never gave a shit about it.
Me too. I was just born like that, honestly. I feel like people, they were constantly bothering me about that, like the amount of ridicule from people my age at every stage in my life that I had to endure just because they are so obsessed with it and they don't understand how you could be some other way. To the point where, especially since I was getting attention, that was like what was offending them the most about it for some reason, that I was choosing not to engage. That was like the most offensive part about it.
Yeah.
They're like, well, why wouldn't you? Why don't you give him a chance? It was like a constant thing of like, why don't you give him a chance? And I'm like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it's fair to either one of us either. I don't think that it's normal to be dating people you don't want to be dating, to be going on dates when you don't want to go on them, to be sleeping with people you don't want to sleep with. It's weird.
Yeah, I had that so much happen to me with the same person. And why? Because we were friends for a long time. Consider them one of my best friends growing up, and it's really hard to break out of a relationship that's lasted literally like 20 years, you know. But then I had to, because I'm not gonna lie, is that same feeling as watching, not to compare that relationship to watching the Vampire Diaries, but like it was like living in that world was giving me depression. Like I actually felt so lifeless, and you know, like I really got injected, you know, after we graduated school, I really got injected into that world because I was just around them so much. And dude, like there was like so many times where I was like, dude, these people have the most bizarre idea about like what love is and what relationships should be and things.
And it's like pushing me to the edge.
Yeah, it was pushing me to the edge because there would be times where, you know, she would like really peer pressure me into dating somebody or like giving someone a chance. And then she'd be like, you're such a mean person.
Oh my God, the amount of people who will literally calling me a bitch for that. Like being like, you're such a acting like a bitch, or you're being a bitch.
He was so nice to you and you're not even giving him a chance. She would do that throughout like my whole life, but then automatically would get so mad if I were in a healthy relationship.
Do you remember any artworks about love from school?
I mean, there were so many.
Many, right?
There were so many because like love was such a big topic. I mean, you were in that class specifically.
Yeah.
I specifically chose not to be in that class.
I actually had like a lot of works like outside of that class too. I like vaguely remember some of them just because they were so bad.
I don't even know if this is really love, but a lot of people associate Tracy Emin's like really early work as being about love and relationships, but it's very attent with all the names of the men she fucked. It's like that kind of vibe. Or like it's just like shit like that, or like portraits, Picasso's obsession with his wife. It's like none of it really stuck.
None of it is good. None of it is good art. I'm sorry. And like I know that there's a lot of people who are like, art is subjective. I don't give a fuck. How about my opinion is subjective?
It sucks. How about my opinion
How about I say my opinion anyway, and if you don't agree with me, just say that you don't agree with me. Don't be a little bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I swear to God, every single time. This is why we don't have any, like, why so much of the art that's produced today is so shit, is because the art that's actually good doesn't get any traction because it's outside of the galleries and whatever, and outside of the privileged spaces to actually be seen by people. But at the same time, on top of that, it's also the fact that we genuinely think that some of this shit that people are making is good just because of the identity politics around it. You can't just be like, I'm a woman and I'm talking about the amount of men that I fucked, and this is a statement because people don't like talking about it or something like that. And it's like, that's not enough. You're not talking, like, your audience, you're not, do you want to be talking to incels? Is that why you think that this is revolutionary?
Yeah.
Because when I make art, I'm not talking to dumbasses. I'm not talking to incels.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be explaining shit to them. I'm not going to be making primitive art just to speak to that audience.
Yeah, I think there's like, I don't really care. Like, I mean, there's not really a problem with people expressing their sexuality and like stuff like that. Like, I don't really give a fuck. but I just like don't particularly like that love has such an emphasis on, for anything, a TV show, a movie, a fucking book, is always like about romantic relationships. I fucking watched The Notebook when I was a child with my cousins, and I'm like, this fucking shit sucked. They were like crying. But I watched Aquamarine, dog, with Sarah Paxton, JoJo, and Emma Roberts. And it was about, the whole story was, the premise was like, oh, she can stay a human if she falls in love. I don't know, there was like a time limit or something. But then the love that she found was through friendship with the two girls. Dude, that shit made me cry.
Yeah.
And I was probably older than when I watched The Notebook. That shit made me fucking cry.
Fun fact about Notebook, literally my friend from high school, she was really like into that movie and she made me watch it, and I was, from the get-go, I was already like commenting on things because they were concerning to me, sorry to say.
Or he like forces her to go on the date.
Yeah, in the beginning I started laughing and I was like, I would just tell him to jump.
Yeah, I would like pick his fingers off.
I would say, sorry, because you're not gonna fucking blackmail me into going out with you. What do you think this is? This is some serial killer behavior. If the man is like literally pushing you this hard to go out with him and he's literally telling you he's gonna kill himself in front of you if you don't, that's not a good sign. That's really weird. That's really concerning.
Like really manipulative.
That's really manipulative and scary. This is serial killer behavior. I'm not even kidding. Like, immediately I would be like, okay, do it then.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Okay, bye. See ya.
I'll promise I'm not even gonna close my eyes, bitch.
I won't even blink, in fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to fucking Aquamarine. That movie fucking slaps. That movie was one of those movies that feels like actual love to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
But also, on top of it all, to talk about actual artworks that are good when it comes to love, because the thing is, this is not even because this is a work about a gay couple. This is not the reason why it's like superior, because the thing is, I have personally witnessed one of the girls in our class who is gay making a work about love with her girlfriend, and it being absolute
it doesn't, however you identify, it doesn't.
It was just a video of their feet, them walking around.
Oh, I was thinking something else, but anyways, I'm a sick fuck. But that's weird.
No, and I was like, and that's it. It was really fucking boring. But this work is, I would say that this work always comes up in my mind whenever I think of a good artwork. Whenever someone's like, what is a good artwork? This was the first one that comes up. But also, I'm the type of person who doesn't even, like, oftentimes I don't know the years things come out. Sometimes I don't even, like, with this work, it's been my favorite for years. And I didn't know until like maybe 2 years ago I didn't remember the name of the artist, and I did not remember what context it was even made in, except for AIDS crisis. That was the only thing that I remembered, because the artwork was like, it is embedded in his experience. Yes, it is very political. Yes, but this is a person who's not trying to make political artwork to gain attention. This is a person whose existence is highly politicized, just like everybody else's, and we're just not realizing it sometimes, especially people who think that you can separate art and politics. Those two things are not like, they can't be separated. And his artwork works on so many levels that it actually works for people who are not gay, who don't know anything about the AIDS crisis. It still works. And I'm not saying that it needs to be that universal, like every artwork needs to be fucking universal, no, but it just shows how well it works. So the artwork,
you feel the grief of it. It's actually crazy that, because we weren't even in the same classes, but like this artwork was both one of our,
this artwork actually, just someone mentioned it in one of the slides. We didn't even get a lecture on it or anything, but it spoke to me. Just the premise of it already worked for me so well that it stuck with me forever.
I just remember that class that I had, and it was so many people. It literally made me fucking tear up when because like the way that lecture ended was that was like the last artwork, and then she was like, yeah, but this is real love, and then it just ended, and I remember everyone literally getting up and like started clapping, because like we were all like, it was so powerful. But yeah, anyways, go ahead.
The name of the artwork is literally Untitled, but in brackets Perfect Lovers. I'm gonna read just like an explanation of what it is so you guys can get a picture, because we know what we're talking about, and I feel like you're just kind of lost a little bit. Anyway, Untitled Perfect Lovers is an installation of two identical battery operated clocks, synchronized and hanging side by side. As ordinary objects elevated to the level of fine art, the clocks undoubtedly reference the Duchampian ready-made. I don't think so. I don't think this is the most important part of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they actually needed to mention that at all.
No. And with their austere forms and serial repetition, minimalist sculpture. The name of the artist is Felix Gonzalez-torres. And he did say that he is talking or like using contemporary art and minimalism in a political way, which is like something that he wanted to change in minimalism, that minimalism was very apolitical.
Yeah.
Which is true. But I don't think that it's the point of this artwork at all, to be honest.
It definitely isn't.
Like all of his works, mundane materials are springboards for subtle personal and political meanings that vary within their context. Viewers' response to the clocks shifts dramatically, knowing that the artist created the installation while his partner Ross Laycock was dying from AIDS. Gonzalez-Torres acknowledged that the clocks would fall out of sync, one eventually stopping first. Time is something that scares me, or used to. This piece I made with the two clocks was the scariest thing I have ever done. I wanted to face it. I wanted those two clocks right in front of me, ticking. On the other hand, the clocks exemplified his desire to create works with multiple possible meanings. It obviously reflects his own homosexual relationship. The abstract nature of the clock's substitution for bodies allows us to read it generally as a metaphor for love. Gonzalez-Torres explained how he resisted the label of gay art during the period of increased censorship and furor over the NEA funding for Robert Mapplethorpe. Mapplethorpe. But it has two P's.
I don't know.
Okay,
that's how it,
okay.
you know where, yeah.
Anyway.
He's pretty big.
Yeah.
People will know him.
Yeah. Two clocks side by side are much more threatening to the powers that be than an image of two guys sucking each other's dicks, because they cannot use me as a rallying point in their battle to erase meaning. It is going to be very difficult for members of Congress to tell their constituents, fuck, that money is being expended for the promotion of homosexual art when all they have to show are two plugs side by side or two mirrors side by side. Gonzalez-Torres often produced multiple versions of his installations, and his detailed instructions for their display became an important element of the piece itself. For Untitled Perfect Lovers, the instructions require the commercial clocks to be exact dimensions and design, and that they touch. Before the exhibition opens, the hands are set to the same time. An essential part of the work is that the clocks can be perpetually reset, and therefore the work is infinite. A rule around the work is that the clocks can fall out of sync, but if one of the clocks stop, they are fixed or replaced, as the case may be. With such directions, Gonzalez-Torres created the basic boundaries of the work, while still allowing for certain flexibility in any given exhibition or installation.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting also to allow the replacement of the batteries and restarting of it, which is also speaking for the this difficulty of grief, that if you are capable of love, you're still gonna love even after you don't have that same person to love. Even though I genuinely don't even like thinking about that. Like whenever I think about people that I love or my little doggy, whenever I think about it, I'm like, bitch, I can't think about it. Like I can't even think about it. I will go insane. And that's actually so funny. Before I got cancer, I was like, damn, like I should go at the same time as my dog. Like, I don't think I can survive it. And then I got cancer, and I was like, bitch, I didn't mean that I should actually, like, I meant you need to make my dog immortal, not kill me early, bitch. Like, what the hell? Whoever's listening, you're a sick fuck.
Yeah. And for people who are just listening and want a simpler description of the artwork, it's literally two identical plastic clocks.
Yeah, they
set
literally
side
plastic.
by side. Very, very. That's it.
Just like Walmart clocks.
Yeah.
Set side by side, and because of the nature of like how batteries work and stuff like that, they are going to stop. Like one of them is going to stop before the other, because they're not going to have the same, like exact same energy usage, to the T. So they're, even if it's just a second apart, it's still gonna be apart.
And yeah, that last part about how in each exhibit, if you were to see this artwork in an exhibit somewhere and then another person sees it somewhere else, they do like change, like, you know, like get replaced or whatever. I remember because the version that I learned was like the one where one of the clocks actually stopped and he's actually talking about, oh yeah, this is when my, because I think there, if I'm thinking correctly, there was an exhibit where he stopped one of the clocks right when his partner died, the day his partner died.
Yeah, I think so. Yes,
yeah, that's
and he literally told people, and I think it's also a part of like how he always ran his exhibitions, where he always had like the security or guards or something like that, which are not actually for guarding but for facilitating the work.
Yeah,
like for example, he had works where people could take pieces of candy or they could take pieces of the work with them, and the guards were there to actually encourage people to do it and not be afraid, because people were afraid to touch anything in the gallery, right? So same with like
which I referenced that in my final artwork.
Slang. But basically it's so funny to me now that I think about it. Like one of my favorite artists is Gonzalez-Torres, and also Wojnarowicz.
Yeah.
Which is like, damn girl, you really like yourself some 80s gays, eh? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, they were fucking I mean, like it kind of makes it like, I don't believe at the time, and like you have to like struggle so much to make good art, but like the art was just so good at that time because like there were real ass people going through real things, understanding like the real struggles in life so deeply at that time, that the art was just so like, even him being like, I'm gonna fucking have someone make sure the clock stops because the love of my life is dead. It's so like intrinsic to him.
Also just
as a
like
person.
just like the fact that he said the love of my life is already, damn, people don't be saying shit like that no more.
Yeah.
And he meant it too.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, maybe you're gonna fall in love again or whatever the fuck.
With the like replacing the clock,
like,
and
you were there for him when he was dying from AIDS.
All
like,
the way to the end.
All the way to the end. Like, you actually love that person because you weren't like, oh, you can fuck me?
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go find somebody else.
Yeah, and even like with some of the exhibits where like they replace the battery or replace the whole clock, and it kind of like, I mean, it infers that like, oh, relationships go on. You'll find your love will like be placed in someone else eventually,
and not necessarily in. This is why it's so touching. Is because it's not necessarily sexual love.
Yeah,
like,
it's just like
romance. Yes, it's representing two gay men, but he could have that love transferred to another person who he might not be attracted sexually to, but it would be their like, the person they or
well, that's what I was
being that they put their love into.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say about like, it actually is touching, even though the clocks do get replaced, and we can infer that as like a new relationship, because it's still in the shadow of the original piece, where it's like his love for his partner who passed from AIDS is so deep, and he like still loves just as deep. You know what I mean? Like, if you go through something like that and you lose somebody you love, for anyone who has lost someone they love, like, you kind of like, I don't know, like have just like so much more of a deeper understanding of what it means to be with people and to keep that time sacred with them and to love them really fully. So I actually do like that, like, hey, like maybe he did found love again, but it's like still in the shadow of the same original artwork that was about him and his partner at the time.
I also find it interesting that like he said that he wanted to like face it and see it and whatever, and like it's so interesting to me that he wanted to have this representation, or like to kind of keep it in mind, I guess, while I find that, to me, all of my love in my life and my life in general is always tainted with a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety. I feel like the reason why it resonated with me so much is because I always feel like I have those clocks in my head ticking all the time. Like, I hear the ticking day and night. It's impossible. It's like I'm so afraid of outliving everyone, but then at the same time I'm like, I don't want to, like, knowing, for example, like my mom and whatever, like I know that I would have to take the burden of being the one who's gonna stay alive. Even like I hope that I would be the one who's gonna have to do that, because I know that it's gonna be too much for her. Like I know that it's just like to her it would be too much for me too. That's why I'm always like, am I selfish enough to wish to not outlive everyone?
Yeah.
Or not? Because in many ways it's like it's harder to be the one who's left behind.
Yeah, in some
in
ways.
that sense.
Yeah.
If you love deeply, I feel like it is going to be always one of those like life is just slightly sad for you all the time. Like it's always going to be tainted with something like fear or anticipation for something bad, or because you're kind of always worried. Like I literally, as soon as I got Hopa, she was literally 3 months old, bitch, and I was already looking at her being like, oh my god, I need to like take in every single moment.
Yeah.
Like I'm that sick. Like,
yeah, I think about that too, like every time like I'll have a good day like with my siblings or like a friend, and then I'll like literally have that thought at night,
yeah,
being like they at any moment,
yeah,
they could. And then I start thinking, especially with my siblings, I'll be like, if something happened to them and they were gone, I don't want to do it.
yeah. Like
I'm not doing it.
I think that it's
and
honestly,
when I mean life.
yeah, I mean me too. And like especially it's difficult for me because like everyone who I love deeply, most of them are older than me, so I'm always like, fuck, like fucking hell. But then when I got cancer and I realized how much it affected my family and stuff like that in terms of depression and stuff, I was like, fuck, well no, I hope I'm gonna be not gonna be the cause of their suffering, at least. Because in terms of nature, it's more of a thing that you should be the one who like lives longer or whatever. And like I know that for my mom, at least, like my mom keeps on telling me this shit. She's like, don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
It's especially more at the forefront of my mind now that I hear, like whenever I talk to my grandparents, and I can see how profoundly my grandma is affected by my grandpa's health whenever it like dips and whenever he like goes up. She like literally can't speak whenever he's like in a bad swing, which I totally get. But it's also at the same time, it's kind of sweet knowing that they actually loved each other through entire lives. Yeah, like they've been together since they were 20 years old, and they're 85. Yeah, 65 years together.
Yeah, that reminds me of my grandparents too. Like I didn't really know them because they both died when I was not born. But I remember from like my relatives telling me that when my grandma died, because she got really sick, she was like pretty much paralyzed, couldn't speak, and she was really, really sick, and they knew she was gonna die eventually. That my grandpa was like, would always like, he was so healthy and strong, but he was like, if mom dies, he's like, I can't go on. And then he literally died on her anniversary, like 2 months after, just like passed away.
Yeah,
and they're like,
my grandma literally told me,
love.
she was like, I think that we're probably gonna go together, because when he got like a really bad swing recently, that's why I have to move back to Calgary and stuff like that, because I need the money to get my mom to go there. But she was like, I literally started to feel so ill too. Yeah, like it was really difficult for both of them physically, and I just have a feeling that this is gonna like, where if he goes, like I'm gonna go after him probably quickly, because my health deteriorates so much when he's unwell. Yeah, and like they're just kind of like connected in that sense. And which is the thing is, I'm not trying to like romanticize specifically romantic love in that sense, because again, I actually encourage all of you to have deep platonic relationships. But I think that with them, what really is interesting about their case is that they actually loved each other through the entire life. It wasn't like they got tired of each other. Yeah, like they did fight, but it's because they fought their entire lives. Like they're just really passionate people. They were basically never doing shit that is normalized nowadays in terms of doing to you people around you, especially when it comes to like my grandpa never done any of the shit that I see men doing nowadays in terms of being disrespectful and other things like that. Yeah. And he's like he was born in 1939 or some shit like that. Right.
Yeah, it's actually really, it is really sad. Funny that like the new generation is always asking the older generation, how do you have a healthy marriage and shit like that. I don't know, dude. Maybe don't treat people as if they have an expiry date, perhaps. Like,
but many of them are married just because they're too old to, like, they don't want to get divorced anymore. It's honestly not really a thing that the older generation is better or something. It's just, I think in my case with my grandparents, they actually had real love. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare to see.
And he wasn't an incompetent
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that's kind of rare.
Yeah.
That's kind of far in between nowadays, but yeah.
This is just like one of those works that actually speaks to me, and that reminds me why I even fuck with art. Because oftentimes I'm like, why am I even talking about this bullshit? Honestly, yesterday I had a meeting with some art thing. I was literally flabbergasted sometimes just in conversation with people, realizing that some people who are older especially, they're trying to separate life and politics, and then life and art, and then politics and art, as if those three things are not literally codependent to the point where they cannot be separated.
Boy.
And it's like so strange, because they would be like, well, we're veering far away from art into life. And I'm like, we're literally talking about art. If you, I said in the meeting, I was like, if your art isn't a reflection of your position in society, then that art shouldn't be made. Don't waste the resources. Because the thing is, like, if you're gonna make it for yourself, like kind of like some kind of doodle or whatever, that's great.
Doodle.
No, I think that's great. That's like participation in tactile art in everyday life, which should be a thing for everybody. I think it should be a thing for every single person. But when it comes to being an artist, in terms of actually going to galleries and asking people to go and see it, if it has nothing, like it doesn't have anything in it, like it's not deeply entrenched in who you are as a person, don't make it. Don't waste anybody's time. Don't waste your time. Honestly, there is no point in making it if it doesn't reflect life, politics, and you all at the same time. Because even when you're not highly politicized, like you're, for example, just like a person who is quite privileged in the society that you live in, you're still, whenever you're making art, you're still going to be making art that is political. However much you like turn and twist, there's going to be this underbelly, because politics is a reflection of life. It's not a hobby. It's not a job that you do. And I think that that's what's kind of strange about our climate nowadays with a lot of people, is that they genuinely, for years, especially in the West, especially in capitalist countries, they for years saw politics as a hobby that you do, or as a necessity only for someone in your family to do, to make sure that you keep your capital. It has nothing to do with your values. It's just insane that it's so separate.
It's like the number one thing that affects us all, and it's not gonna consider any of those things. Is crazy.
It's absolutely bonkers.
You know, it is works like that kind of make being in the arts, it's like reinvigorating, because right now it's so far in between when you find artworks like that, but when you really do, it's like so impactful, and you can't even explain it in words. It's the main reason I think why we're both still in it despite everything.
I would say so. I feel like I always forget what it is, because sometimes like I genuinely just like go to
you see
a meeting, or go to an like a art gallery.
You see so much bad shit,
and they fucking ruin it for me every time. Like I go in and I'm like, I hate this. I talk to people in the arts and I'm like, I can't stand you, bitch. Like I seriously cannot do it anymore. It's literally that meme with Ariana and Cynthia. Oh, we're holding space for fucking defying gravity, bitch. I'm gonna punch you if you don't stop talking like this.
I still don't know what it means.
I know what it means. It's like they're like, people are appreciating the song. They're like making videos where they take time to think about it, or like they show their appreciation about it, or whatever the fuck. I know what it means. I just don't like it. I think it's stupid to be talking about it like that. I think it's ridiculous. I think you are using ridiculous therapy speak. And honestly, therapy speak sometimes makes me want to shoot myself, because it makes me feel like not a human being, but some kind of fucking AI, like ChatGPT produced text.
Yeah. I mean, might as well do that for therapy. Yeah, we should talk more about our favorite artworks.
Yeah,
I feel like.
And we're gonna have an extra episode that's a little bit shorter. It's not gonna be an hour or something like that on Patreon uploaded.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.